Judith Boivin spent her entire career as a therapist, analyzing behavior, understanding deception. Yet in 2026, she walked into her bank and wired nearly $600,000 of her retirement savings because she believed she was helping the FBI. And if you're thinking that couldn't happen to you, that's exactly why these scams work.
And this is the part most people get wrong. These scams aren't working because people are careless. They're working because the rules have changed. In this video, we're going to show you what's actually different and how to protect yourself.
For decades, the global financial system relied on a simple assumption. If you recognized a voice and they knew your personal details, they were who they claimed to be. In 2026, that baseline trust is being systematically weaponized against us. Every time you post a video from a family walk, leave a voicemail, or participate in a public webinar, you provide the exact raw material criminals need to map your identity. This diagram illustrates the current voice cloning pipeline. Criminals scrape just 3 seconds of your audio from a social media post, run it through an AI processing node, and instantly output a synthetic voice profile with 85% accuracy. We used to spot scams by listening for bad grammar, robotic phrasing, or strange accents. Now, the person on the other end of the line sounds exactly like your grandson, using his exact cadence, begging for help from a hospital or a foreign jail. This chart shows the growth of different fraud methods over the last few years. While traditional fraud has remained relatively flat, we are seeing a 1,210% surge in AI-enabled scams. By 2027, generative AI fraud is projected to reach $40 billion annually. Most of that is expected to be drained directly from senior retirement savings. Because we can no longer distinguish a clone from a loved one through biological senses alone, protection requires a shift from detection to structural defense. The first line of defense costs nothing, but it requires retraining how your family responds to panic. We call this the human layer. Your family needs to establish a secret code word today. This word should never be typed into a text message or posted online. If someone calls claiming an emergency, ask for the word. If they cannot provide it, you hang up. Next is the callback rule. You must agree, as a family, to never process a financial request or handle an emergency on an incoming phone call. You start breaking the scammer's momentum by physically disconnecting the call, looking up the person's known number, and dialing them yourself to verify the crisis. The trade-off here is convenience. You have to sacrifice frictionless, immediate communication and actively fight your biological instinct to help a loved one in distress. By forcing a mandatory pause and verifying the caller offline, these zero-cost protocols neutralize the vast majority of AI voice scams. But human protocols can fail. That brings us to the tech layer. Financial institutions realize passwords and security questions are easily stolen, so they have moved to continuous authentication, running quietly in the background. In 2026, the standard for banking security is behavioral biometrics. Banks now monitor your physical interactions. Data nodes capture your typing cadence, swipe velocity, and the exact angle you hold your phone, feeding into a secure server. This silent digital shield flags anomalies if you're rhythm changers, automatically blocking the transfer. If a scammer is coaching you over the phone to wire money, your hesitation, altered typing speed, and nervous device handling look completely different from your normal baseline. That change trips the bank's circuit breaker. You can strengthen this shield by subscribing to an identity theft protection service. These tools monitor the dark web for the stolen data scammers use to personalize their attacks before they ever dial your number. Implementing this layer means paying monthly subscription fees and trusting your bank with deeply personal, continuous behavioral data. It is a necessary trade. Behavioral biometrics remove the reliance on passwords that can be stolen, securing your money through physical habits that cannot be faked. Finally, we reach the legal layer. This is the final defense designed to lock down accumulated retirement assets when everything else fails. It starts by updating your power of attorney to the new 2026 standards. The rules governing who can access your money have tightened significantly. Modern laws now require mandatory annual reporting from your designated agents. This ensures the document meant to protect you isn't weaponized by bad actors for financial abuse. For larger estates, elder law attorneys are deploying the circuit breaker trust. This legal instrument intentionally limits your unilateral control over your life savings. This flowchart illustrates the mechanism. By building a dual signature requirement into your trust, a massive withdrawal simply cannot process without a co-trustee's approval, even if a scammer has you completely convinced of an emergency. The trade-off here is stark. You have to pay upfront legal fees and accept the emotional hurdle of sacrificing total, immediate independence over your personal finances. But formalizing these strict legal boundaries is simply the only way to hardwire friction into your everyday financial life. The legal layer acts as the ultimate failsafe. If human protocols are forgotten and the tech layer is bypassed, the money remains structurally locked. So, how do you apply these 3 defensive layers to your own life? The answer depends on your current stage of independence. This decision tree maps out the 2 primary paths: seniors managing their money independently and those receiving caregiver support. If you are entirely independent, your action plan is clear. Limit the public audio and video you post, establish a family code word, and ensure behavioral biometrics are active on your accounts. This approach plugs the easiest vulnerabilities. If transitioning to caregiver support, your strategy shifts. You need to formally designate trusted contacts at your financial institutions and modernize your power of attorney. This path guarantees a trusted second set of eyes on every major financial decision. Yes, this means accepting financial transparency with your family members earlier than you might prefer. But having these difficult, transparent conversations at the dining room table today is vastly preferable to having them after a crisis drains your accounts. In an era of flawless digital impersonation, frictionless financial independence is now a critical vulnerability. To defeat an AI that perfectly mimics human emotion, you need a framework that systematically removes emotion from the financial equation.
If you take nothing else from this, remember this one thing. Never act on urgency from an incoming call. Hang up and call back using a number you already trust. That one step alone can stop most scams in their tracks. I've put the full guide and checklist below, along with more resources on rabbit ears.